Welcome to yet another episode of Shortcast Over Coffee. My guest today is Sreedhar Pillai. Sreedhar is a trade analyst and film critic and has been a journalist in the movie industry for over 35 years. I will talk to Sreedhar about the economics of South Indian movie industry, from ticket pricing to film distribution to OTT and satellite rights. So let's dive right into it. Hi Sreedhar, welcome to the podcast.
Nice to be in your podcast.
Sir, I have seen your work a lot over the years in cinema journalism, in newspaper, in the print media, and also with India Glitz. But would love to know more about your background as to how you broke into this space and what your education background is.
See, I had graduated from the Kerala University, from the Marivanius College, way back in 1980s, and then I wanted to enter journalism. That time I was doing what do you call investigative journalism had just come into the thing. I was working for a magazine called India Today. I did some freelancing stuff and then got into India Today. And that was my big break. And for 10 years, I worked as India Today correspondent, first in Trivandrum, and then I came to Chennai also, and I was based in Chennai. After doing my BA Literature, I had actually done a journalism course in then called Madras, that is Chennai of today. And I had graduated from the Bhavan's Institute of Mass Communication, and that's how I became. Then I joined in as an what do you call one of the sub editors in Indian Express in Chennai. And after 1 year, I joined India Today as a cub reporter. Then slowly grew up, and finally I was posted in Kerala in Trivandrum itself, and then came back as the bureau chief. And then after that, I left because Veer Sangvi was one of my friends, and Veer Sangvi took me to a magazine called Sunday, which is not there any longer, defunct now, in 1990. And it started that investigative journalism in India, and I was doing a lot of actually political and crime reporting, and cinema was also part of it. Then I got hooked on to cinema, and I thought the entertainment industry was just coming up in the 80s and 90s. And I thought this is the best time to join. And I became, I was doing what you call, those days it was called back of the cover. That is the last 10, 12 pages used to be on cinema and the entertainment industry, which I got popularized. Then I got into, those days were easy because today it's different. But those days it was that film journalism, like what you say, was just breaking out. And India Today, I did a series of articles from Rajnikant, Kamal Hassan, or some of them were cover stories. And that time there was no interest in South Indian cinema. If you remember 1987, when Mani Ratnam made Nayak, and I was one of the first person to introduce him, and we did a 3-page story in India Today on Mani Ratnam, and they said that he would be the most exciting new director at that time. Well, then time went on, and then Sunday also I was doing basically all film articles, and because my interests were there, and then by 19 end of the century, I moved into just that time Sifi.com. There was a site called Sifi.com had just come in. Very famous site because it bought at those days some 450 crore rupees. It was bought, and that time I left my job in India Today and started being a content provider for Sifi.com. So I used to run the Tamil and the Malayalam film entertainment sites in English in Sifi.com. And that was just when internet had just come into India. I mean, not in India, I mean, it was slowly getting popular in India by the year 2000. And from 2000 onwards, it was a fantastic ride because that was my own business. I set up a company called Movie Bus. We were a company which was providing content to also to some newspapers and some magazines in northern India. And at the same time, we had a good network, and we used to the Sifi.com became very, very popular. And it was just before all these other sites like Behind Oats and India Glitz started. So we were the pioneers in a way. And I used to know everybody, and it was a very nice ride. Then I think by 2015, when Sifi.com, I was the longest surviving person who was providing content for Sifi.com for 15 years. And at the same time, around 2000, I also was doing articles for the Hindu. Hindu had Friday page and Thursday Metro page. Both these pages, all the film articles were written by Sreedhar Pillai. So my byline also became very, very popular. So I had access because of Hindu and Sifi.com, and I knew everybody at close quarters. And this helped me a lot. Let me be very honest. Print is my first love, but now print is dead. It's no longer there. And then I was in love with online internet those days. But even now, I think slowly the online reporting has stopped. Then by 2010, actually, I joined one of the first persons to join Twitter. Today, I have got 1.3 million followers on Twitter. What I was doing in Twitter was that time, now it's called X, but at those days when it started, I used to provide the entire entertainment every day. There used to be at least 5 tweets from me on the development in the industry. And what you see today, a lot of things, it was happening at that time. Then I got into the visual media also with India Glitz, and also Hindu had something. So we were doing a lot of things there also. And Sifi.com had something called Chennai Live. This was way back in 2010. So that time, video streaming was very bad in India, but still we tried out. So I was there at the right time, at the right place is my answer to this. And today I'm very happy. I'm a senior citizen today, but I'm very, very happy with my achievements. And I'm having a lovely life today. I do social media, and I'm extremely strong on Twitter. And I'm doing a lot of things on for the Instagram and Facebook. So that way also things I am kept occupied.
Yeah, fantastic. I think some of the things that you said also took me back to my childhood. Things like Sifi and Rediff were one of the pioneers,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
of the Indian .com era.
yeah,
And I think,
yeah,
yeah, and same with Hindu as well, right? I remember reading
yeah.
Metro Plus and Friday. I don't remember what the name was. Friday something.
Friday review. It was called Friday review.
So yeah, I think after that there was I think Manorama got into the space. There was 123 Web India,
Yeah,
and
yeah, a
those
lot of
guys.
people got into it.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
was I think yeah
Then
mid 2000s. Yeah.
yeah. Then after that, there was a .com bust. The boom went bust. Then everybody got out of that, and then social media took over. Today, social media is the biggest thing in the world, and everything is gone for a toss. Whether it is media, whether it is traditional print media or internet, online business, everything is now taking a backseat. It's only social media that's powerful. And long writing, I used to write almost every day, 2,000 to 3,000 page articles. That has all disappeared now.
Yeah, I mean some of the companies are trying to bring that long form articles back. Like there is Substack and there is like couple of other blogging sites. But again,
Ah,
I don't know how long or how far they will go. Um,
ah,
but Sridhar, having looked at the space from close quarters for so many years, I'm pretty sure you will know the workings and the economics of the South Indian movie industry very, very closely.
yeah.
And I would
Hmm.
love if you could break down, from the point of view of a common moviegoer in, let's say, a city like Chennai or Bangalore, the ticket
Hmm.
price that he or she pays. What is the typical breakdown of that ticket? Let's exclude taxes, but what percentage usually typically goes to the theater versus the distributor versus the producer?
See, let's say a ticket costing 100 rupees. I'm just saying because tickets are costing much more than that.
Yeah.
30% will of the ticket or gross of 100 rupees, 30% goes to government in various tax forms. 35% you can say. and the rest 65 rupees or 70 rupees has to be shared between the person who has brought that film to the theater and to that exhibitor and the distributor. That is the old sharing pattern. Today it depends on the cloud, your cloud, and other things. How fast you can get a new film and other things to get that cloud. So that cloud part of is very important. So you get maybe that 65% is normally shared. Today multiplexes take away 50% in week one of a film. 50% of, if the producer is very strong, he may get 55%. So multiplex will get 45 and the theater will get 50%. And single screens, again, there is a big division between the single screens and the multiplexes. The single screens in Tamil Nadu are the biggest and the strongest ever in India. India doesn't have any long, India must be having hardly around 11,000 to 12,000 screens compared to China, which has got about 60,000 screens. But India has just 12,000 screens, 12,000 odd screens. Even that numbers are not regular, out of which today about 6,500 are multiplex screens. So multiplexes are going, while the single screens, multiplexes are mushrooming and booming, while single screens, to run a single screen, it's not financially viable. I don't want to go back into history and tell you about single screens, but even today, Tamil Nadu has a maximum number of screens, single screens in India. There are about 1,000 odd screens in Tamil Nadu, out of which the single screens would form around 600, and the rest 400 odd are multiplex screens. But again, most of these screens are converting into multiplexes, but not pan-Indian. A single individual will, if he has an old theater of, let us say, 900 seater, he would convert it into a 3-screen seater where each screen would be around 200 seats. So that way a lot of conversion is taking place, but still we are nowhere near the numbers that should be there. But the distribution pattern that which I am coming to tell you is always the multiplexes, because they are multiplexes and the kind of facility they provide and the screening thing, they charge very high rates. But there's no other way, because they control the market. In an urban city like Madras, Chennai, almost all the 90% of screens are owned by the major multiplexes in India. That with the with PVR and Inox joining together, they hold around almost 70% of the multiplex screens in India, and out of which a large portion are in Chennai and suburbs. So the multiplexes will definitely get a higher percentage when it comes to theatrical collection. So we cannot be specific about this. And today, theatrical collection is nowhere compared to the collections with the kind of money you can make out of digital rights. Digital rights means the digital streaming rights and the satellite television rights. These are the two major rights there. And both together would be much more than the theatrical. This has happened in the last 5 years, especially after the pandemic. People are not going so much to the theater as it used to be. In India, up to 2010 or 2015, the theatrical collection was almost bigger than anything else, even for big hero films. But once the digitals came, they are nowhere. They cannot match the theatrical. Let's take a small industry like Malayalam. Malayalam is a very small place, like Kerala is a very small place. From Kalikavilla in Trivandrum district, it goes up to Kasaragod in the northernmost part of the state. There are hardly about 500 screens in Kerala. And they don't bring you the kind of revenue which digital rights will get you. So with digital rights, you can virtually today get the entire cost of your film. But the digital players have also become very choosy. They don't buy films just like that. So many films are made, the digital rights of almost 60% of the films made are not sold. It's a loss. It won't happen because theatrical alone, you cannot get back your returns in India today. No film, whether it's Hindi or Tamil or Malayalam, you cannot get your profits from theater alone.
Do you
Remember,
do you think it's
we
because the production cost has gone up, or uh, which is contributing to lack of returns from theater?
see one of the reasons why I would say is that the digital prices were very high, very high for a Malayalam film. Earlier, you used to let me see a Mohanlal or a Mammootty film 5 years back. I'm saying 5 years back. Let us say, let's go back to 2017 or something like that. The cost of a Mohanlal or Mammootty film was around 5 crores. Sorry, around cost of production would be around between 7 to 8 crores, out of which they have to get back 80 to 85% from theatricals alone. Theatricals was at that time only Kerala theatrical plus the other rights, and almost 80% was from Kerala alone. Then the other language, overseas and everything together. So the major chunk of the profit came from there. Then the other rights were only overseas theatrical rights. Then the satellite rights. Those times, satellite was more bigger money than digital. Now, today, what has happened is cost of a Mammootty Mohanlal film is anywhere upward of 25 to 30 crores. And Mohanlal and Mammootty themselves are charging 10 crores. Otherwise, they produce the film themselves.
Profit
So
sharing.
what is the point? The profit sharing, or they have their own companies.
Yeah.
Today, Mammootty's latest film, Kannur Squad, is one of the biggest hits. But the entire money, Mammootty works free for that film. The cost of the film at the time of release must be about 8 crores. But he would easily make the total revenue from the film is a theatrical hit. So he would get about 20, 25 crores from theatricals. Yeah, that is his share. That is share would be 20, 25 crores, and take another digital and everything, it will do about 50 crores. So it's huge profit. So why should the star share that profit? So what has happened today is Mohanlal and Mammootty have their own productions or their favorite producers who dance to their tunes.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, so with OTT and satellite rights coming in, can a movie, let's say something made with a budget of 20 crores, break even just with OTT rights? Let's say they are not releasing in the theater, right? OTT only movies. Can they break even?
Not possible now because there's a new rule. The OTT platforms are also smart. They have realized that a film will get its publicity from a theatrical release. A certain amount of money the producer spends and all the television spends plus television interviews all adds to the promoting the film. So nobody takes a film, a big company like, let's say, Amazon Prime or Netflix will buy a film without a theatrical run today. Even for small films, it's applicable. So what happens? The producer has to release his film, has a theatrical run. He has to have a theatrical run technically. Even if the film runs for one day in a theater, it is a theatrical run. But to have a one day run, he has to spend close to 40 to 50 lakhs, which many times he will not recover.
Yeah, because I think right around the time when pandemic happened, there were so many movies releasing only on OTT, and I felt like people were, relying on that OTT bucks. They were keeping on making films, and I felt like Malayalam cinema probably made like 250 films during that year, and not
Yeah.
all of them were of good quality. And I felt like they were just relying completely on OTT.
And I also personally feel people like, because in Kerala, many people still live in what you call joint families and other things, and they want some freedom, especially the youth. So they would like to go to a theater and we freak it out and see a movie. And there are now, what's the new trend in Kerala is all malls are coming up. Even in smaller places, malls are there in Thrissur, in Kollywood. all malls are there. And so the mall multiplex culture, which is part of the urban India culture, which Bombay and Delhi and Bangalore have only mall multiplexes. There are no standalone multiplexes. Only Chennai has the last of the standalone multiplexes in Satyam Cinemas, and other cinemas which are converted multiplexes, not originally multiplexes. So everybody would like to go to a mall, have good fun, and then watch a movie and go to the food court or something like that, and then come back. That is why even in smaller, very small places, malls have sprung up. Even in Malappuram, Tirur, very, very small places, mall multiplexes have sprung up, and they are doing better businesses. And they also offer the audiences a wide variety of films. They're all, because Kerala this year, for example, the biggest hits have all come from other language films like Rajinikanth's Jailer, Shah Rukh Khan's Pathan. So all those films are basically being screened in multiplexes, and multiplexes bring in a large chunk of the money.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think malls and multiplexes are also pretty aspirational, right? I mean, growing up
Yeah,
in a small town, you are like, oh, in Bangalore there are multiplexes, and how about if
yeah.
it comes to your town? You know, it's quite aspirational.
Yeah, and let me tell you, in Kerala, for example, the Lulu Mall, it's become Lulu Mall in Kochi was a tourist attraction. People used to come from 100, 200 kilometers away from Kozhikode and Kasargod or from Trivandrum. Now the new Lulu Mall in Trivandrum is outbeating the business of the Kochi Mall because people are coming from Tamil Nadu to watch, and the kind of experience they have, the luxury seats, and people are paying money. I don't know. People say they don't have money, but they're paying 500 to 1,000 rupees for a ticket. Oppenheimer, the big IMAX movie, shot in IMAX, and it is such a super duper hit in Lulu Mall in Trivandrum. It ran for 50 days in an IMAX screen. People are paying 500 rupees to 1,000 rupees to watch an IMAX film. So
Yeah,
you can see the kind of things that's happening.
yeah. It's I think a part of it is also the experience, right? You know, you take a day
Yeah.
out and go watch a film. So I want to dive deep into the role of a distributor. So everyone knows the producer. You know, he is kind of the foundation or the person who dreams of the movie and obviously pays the money for it or raises the funds for it. What is exactly the role of the distributor? I mean, I can totally understand what it used to be in the, let's say, 90s or the 80s pre-digital era, but with so much technology and you know, satellite streaming and all that stuff, why are distributors still relevant?
I think the distributor is dead and gone
Okay.
in modern times. There is no distributor now. What is happening is only for films, you have maybe a single distributor. The producer himself is the distributor. He can talk to PVR and get the dates, or he talk to he can go play the movies there itself. And everything is computerized to a very large extent. In 80s and 90s, I mean 70s, 80s, 90s, that kind of thing, distributors were very, very powerful because they funded the film. They funded the film, and they, in Tamil Nadu, for example, they used to collect money from theaters for a Rajinikanth film or a Kamal Hassan film. They got the money in advance, and that money was given to the producers to produce films. And that was how the network was functioning. But today it's totally different. The distributor is dead and gone. There's no middleman. Every producer himself is a distributor if he is a powerful producer. Otherwise, he doesn't care. In Tamil Nadu, you have Red Giants of Udaynidhi Stalin, Red Giants, which is the biggest production house and distribution concern. So people go to them, they distribute the film, they get the dates from the theaters. So if they have about 12 films a year, the theater is more than happy to accommodate them. Earlier, it was not the case like that. Individual distributors don't have that kind of clout today. It's impossible for a small timer to be a distributor any longer. You have to ensure that the theaters play the movies, you get good terms, and the money comes back to you. Earlier, there was a lot of hanky-panky in the business. Today, it's a straight, you know how much people saw the movie? Because everything is computerized. The ticket is computerized. So many people saw the movie. Earlier, there was a lot of hanky-panky business about ticket sales, and it was not very well authenticated. But today, it's far, far better. I would say still there is some hanky-panky, but 95% of business is clean.
Yeah, I mean, when I say distributor, I mean, I was giving the example. I was gonna give the example of, let's say, a Prithviraj Productions is distributing a few Tamil movies, Telugu movie, and you also see like Dharma Productions distributing. I think they
Yeah,
did
they are big production houses. They call the shots. So you can't. They have got direct access. Today you told me about Prithviraj Productions or a Mammootty company. They have got direct access to the star. Mammootty company produces all Mammootty films and Dulkar films for Kerala. So those films, they have got, so the theater will respect them. Theater will go out of the way to give them priority dates. And if it is a single screen, if he is asked to pay 65% of the total box office collection, he will give, because the ancillary industry around, it's not from the theater selling a ticket alone that he's making his profit. He is making a profit because of the footfalls in his theaters. That footfalls will also provide some kind of security to his concessions. Concessions means his canteen, his popcorn, where the profits are 150%. Because, for example, a PVR popcorn, which would have normally cost, let us say, 50 to 60 rupees, is sold at something like 350 rupees. So the business angle of it, it is a big producers who get big, like you said, production houses who are directly dealing with the theater. So there's no middleman now involved.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And now how the I was looking at how the rights are sold, and I see that the rights are sold region wise, and region wise is again not state wise, but regions within a state. I would love if you could explain
That
how.
See, Tamil Nadu, I'll give you an example of Tamil Nadu. Kerala is too small a state. Kerala always had one distributor for the entire state, or maximum it used to be split into Cochin, Travancore, and Malabar. But that were three distributors, but that didn't work. For all the big films, it was one single distributor. Tamil Nadu, as traditionally from MGR days, had about five. The five main districts were North Arcot, South Arcot, Chengalpet. This is known as NSC in the trade circle. That was the biggest. This is up to, I'm telling about 2010. After that, it has changed. So North Arcot, South Arcot, NSC, then Coimbatore and Chennai, Madurai, Trichy, Tirunelveli, Kanyakumari, and Salem. So you had 9 distribution areas. And today, what is happening is all these 9 areas will be controlled by one person. Say, Red Giants of Udaynidhi Salem has got offices in all the districts, and he can one phone call and the theaters just line up to give him whatever he wants.
Okay.
And even a smaller distributors like Shakti Film Factory, they have got offices in smaller town, or they have got their agents from Chennai. You can manage the whole business.
And what about selling the rights in Hindi? So let's say Bahubali is produced by a production house in Telugu, but then Dharma or someone in Bombay handles the Hindi rights, right? Like,
Yeah, that also depends on how who buys the rights, because there is also a Hindi dubbing market. Long time before this Hindi rights went, there was a market which dealt simply on dubbed films. This dubbed film was all action-oriented films of Vijay Kant, Chiranjeevi, Rajinikanth. All that kind of movies were dubbed and shown on. There are about 30, 40 Hindi channels which show only Hindi films. So they ran out of content, especially during the time of the COVID. People are sitting at home. So the Hindi channels bought all the South Indian films and they bought the dubbing rights of these films at a throwaway price. So, and they were showing, you could hear, I mean, you can hear a Vijay speaking in Hindi. Somebody else used to dub for everything, and they sold. They made in the end for as far as the producer is concerned, it's just another new revenue stream. But as far as the distributor is concerned, he could show it in single screens in northern India. Plus, he could get money out of selling it to his own distribution setup, his own satellite distributors. There is many like Sony, so many people are there, ZTV, all those people wanted dub content. And that's how it flourished. But today, the terms and conditions are totally different and it's bigger money. Ever since the success of Bahubali 2 and Pushpa, one Hindi film, I mean, one Telugu film which was dubbed, and KGF 2, these all films changed the equation totally. From Pushpa and KGF 2, the multiplexes have also started showing the dub version. So the money became bigger, and then the bigger sharks in Bombay came forward and bought these films and distributed it.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's crazy how things have changed. I think post 2010, there's been such a huge radical shift
Yeah.
in the movie industry. Sridhar, before we end this podcast, I just want to ask you about the collection reports, right? It was not so much about collection in the 90s or the early 2000s. It was more like, 50 day or 100th day. And I remember people used to release special posters for that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100th day, 150 and whatnot. And then it slowly, I think after Three Idiots maybe, or maybe even before that, it all changed, and now it's all about the 100 crore mark. How much of these numbers is believable? Is there any sort of, like you said, hanky panky or inflation that goes on, or because of technology, all of that is streamlined and we can really trust these numbers?
I wouldn't. You take it with a pinch or a bucket full of salt, a little bit
Okay.
here and there. All these numbers are slightly exaggerated, but it is somewhere near, I would say. But some are exaggerated, largely inflated. Some of these heroes, it's all on social media pages. In actual reality, I would say 80% of these collections may be true. That 20% is all driven by social media, fan bases, and run by the actor himself, or he has got some kind of connection with that.
How
So
do they
it's
inflate?
all,
It's just publicity, right? Like inflation is basically publicity saying that, hey, we have done 100 crore when they have not.
yeah, I mean, nobody questions them. That's it. And even if you try to, he may say the film X film has collected 65 crores from this area. But he may be somewhere near around that, around 45 or 50 crores he may be there. Another 15 he inflates. But like that, there will be inflated figures. And I wouldn't say 100% these numbers are correct, but definitely somewhere near.
Yeah, so I guess we just have to take 80% of the value that you see. Uh,
Yeah, 80
anyway,
to 85%. Yeah. But in the case now today, I would say that even that figures have shown better improvement. It's almost accurate up to 90%.
okay, awesome. Sridhar, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really love talking to you. I mean, you
Yeah.
have been in the industry for 30, 40 years, and it's amazing how you have transformed with time. Starting off as a
Yeah.
journalist in print media, then moving to online, and then now to social media. And I see you rocking on Instagram as well. So keep
Yeah.
continuing that.
Yeah.
Loved your
That's why I
transition.
came on your podcast. Podcast is also becoming very big.
Again, thank you so much, Sridhar. Wish you all the best.
Yeah. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.